Hey coin lovers! Welcome to the Worth Old Coins channel, your place to discover the hidden value and rare facts about old coins. In today's video we're revealing the top 4 valuable coins, and one of them might just be in your collection. So don't skip this video, let's find out their real worth. Top 1. The 2004 United Kingdom 1 penny coin is part of the decimal coinage introduced in 1971 when Britain adopted a new monetary system based on 100 pennies to the pound sterling, 1 pound equals 100p. Before this reform, the old pre-decimal system was much more complex, using pound shillings and pence, with 12 pence to a shilling and 20 shillings to a pound. The penny, therefore, is both an ancient denomination with centuries of history and a modern unit within the decimal framework. The 2004 coin belongs firmly to the modern era but still carries echoes of Britain's rich numismatic heritage. The obverse side of the coin features the effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who reigned from 1952 until 2022, making her Britain's longest-reigning monarch. The portrait used on the 2004 coin is the fourth definitive portrait of the Queen, created by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley FRBS and first introduced in 1998. This portrait was notable for its more realistic, less idealized depiction of the Queen, showing her maturity and dignity. It replaced the earlier Raphael Maklauf design, which had been in use since 1985. Rank Broadley's portrait shows the Queen facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most famous and favorite pieces of jewelry. Unlike earlier portraits, which often minimized signs of age, Rank Broadley deliberately depicted the Queen with greater realism, including natural features such as lines on her face symbolizing wisdom and experience. Around the portrait runs the legend, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD. An abbreviation of the Latin phrase Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. The year of issue 2004 appears beneath the portrait. The reverse side of the 2004 penny features the famous design of a crowned portcullis with chains and emblem associated with the Palace of Westminster, where the UK Parliament sits. This design, created by Christopher Ironside, had been in use on the 1 penny coin since the introduction of decimalization in 1971. The portcullis is a historic symbol used in heraldry and government, representing strength, security, and authority. A T is surmounted by a crown signifying royal authority over Parliament. Around the design is the denomination 1 penny. The technical specifications of the 2004 1 penny coin are standard for the denomination at that time. It is made of copper-plated steel weighing 3.56 grams with a diameter of 20.3 millimeters and a thickness of 1.65 millimeters. Originally, 1 penny coins struck between 1971 and 1992 were made of bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin, but rising copper prices led the Royal Mint to change the composition to copper-plated steel from September 1992 onwards. Thus, the 2004 penny is magnetic, unlike the earlier bronze pennies, which were not. The edge of the 2004 1 penny coin is plain, smooth, without reading or lettering. This plain edge is standard for lower denomination coins in the UK decimal system, making them easy to distinguish by touch and ensuring low production costs. The 2004 1 penny coin was struck at the Royal Mint, which by then had relocated from its historic site at Tower Hill, Londo, to a modern facility in Llantrisant, South Wales in 1968, just before decimalization. The Royal Mint has produced billions of decimal pennies since 1971, ensuring that they are always available for circulation, though their actual use in commerce has decreased over time due to inflation and the rise of electronic payments. By 2004, the 1 penny coin had been in circulation for over 30 years in its decimal form, yet its purchasing power had diminished significantly since 1971. While once useful for everyday small transactions by the early 2000s, it was often regarded as an inconvenient coin used primarily for making exact change or for pricing strategies, such as items ending in .99. Despite this, the coin remained legally required for circulation, as removing it would cause disruption to accounting and retail pricing systems. The symbolism of the portcullis design is deeply rooted in British history. The portcullis was first used as a royal badge by King Henry VII, founder of the Tudor dynasty, and later became associated with the Palace of Westminster. Its adoption on the 1 penny coin reinforces the connection between the monarchy, parliament, and the people, symbolizing governance under the crown. In modern times, it also serves as a visual reminder of Britain's democratic institutions and constitutional monarchy. The 2004 penny represents not only continuity but also transition. While the coin retained its 1971 design, the portrait of the Queen had evolved into its fourth version, capturing her later reign. This duality, unchanging reverse design alongside evolving obverse portraits, illustrates the way British coinage balances tradition with change, ensuring both familiarity and historical progression in everyday currency. From a numismatic perspective, the 2004 one-penny coin is considered a common issue with millions produced for circulation. It is not rare, and circulated examples generally hold only face value. However, uncirculated and proof versions of the 2004 penny were also produced for collector sets by the Royal Mint, and these command a small premium, especially in perfect condition. The 2004 proof coins were struck with specially polished dies on carefully prepared planchets, resulting in sharp mirror-like finishes. These proof sets were sold directly to collectors and remain desirable for their quality. While not extremely valuable, they demonstrate the Royal Mint's commitment to artistry and precision in coin production. The copper-plated steel composition of the 2004 penny has led to some interesting collecting quirks. Over time, the thin copper plating can wear, exposing the steel core beneath. This can cause rust or discoloration if the coin is damaged, leading to unusual appearances in circulation. Collectors sometimes find partially corroded pennies that look very different from normal examples, though these are generally considered damaged rather than error coins. TOP4, the 2005 United Kingdom one-penny coin, is one of the most common denominations within the British decimal coinage system, which was introduced on February 15, 1971, an event known as Decimal Day. This major reform replaced the ancient British currency system of pounds, shillings, and pence with a simpler modern system where 1 pound equals 100 new pennies. The 2005 penny belongs to this decimal framework and represents the continuity of one of the oldest denominations in English monetary history, as the term penny dates back to the Anglo-Saxon era of the 8th century. The obverse of the coin. The front side features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who reigned from 1952 until 2022. In 2005, the portrait in use was the fourth definitive portrait designed by the British sculptor Ian Rank Broadley FRBS, which had first been introduced in 1998. This portrait was a departure from the earlier, more youthful and idealized images of the Queen. Rank Broadley depicted the Queen with greater realism, reflecting her age and experience. His design emphasized dignity, wisdom, and maturity, which resonated with the public after nearly 5 decades of her reign. In this portrait, the Queen faces right, following the tradition that each new monarch's portrait alternates direction from their predecessor. She is shown wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a piece of jewelry originally gifted to Queen Mary in 1893 and one of Elizabeth II's most iconic and beloved tiaras. Around the effigy runs the Latin legend, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2005, which translates as Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. This inscription reinforces both her political role as monarch and her religious role as head of the Church of England. The reverse design of the 2005 one-penny coin features a crowned portcullis with chains, a design by the artist and engraver Christopher Ironside. This image has been used on the penny since decimalization in 1971. The portcullis is a traditional heraldic symbol that dates back to medieval times and was adopted as a badge by the Tudors, particularly King Henry VII. In modern times, the portcullis with chains has become strongly associated with the Palace of Westminster, home to the UK Parliament, and is widely used as a symbol of parliamentary democracy. The portcullis is topped with a royal crown, linking the imagery of Parliament to the crown itself. This pairing symbolizes the constitutional monarchy of the United Kingdom, where the monarchy and Parliament coexist within the democratic framework of the state. Below and around the image is the inscription, 1 penny, clearly identifying the denomination. The design is simple but powerful, representing authority, stability, and tradition. The technical specifications of the 2005 one-penny coin are as follows. It is composed of copper-plated steel weighing 3.56 grams with a diameter of 20.3 millimeters and a thickness of 1.65 millimeters. The coin's edge is plain without any lettering or milling. The choice of copper-plated steel instead of the earlier bronze composition reflects an important change that took place in 1992. Up to that year, UK 1 and 2 penny coins were made of bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin. However, rising copper prices made bronze too expensive, leading the Royal Mint to switch to cheaper steel blanks coated with copper. The consequence of this material change is that 2005 pennies are magnetic since their core is made of steel. Earlier bronze coins were non-magnetic. This allows even the average person to distinguish between pre-1992 and post-1992 pennies using a simple magnet. While the switch was economically practical, it also meant that over time the copper plating on steel pennies could wear away, exposing the steel core, which is prone to rust and corrosion. As a result, many 2005 pennies in circulation today may appear discolored or spotted. The minting process of the 2005 one-penny coin took place at the Royal Mint located in Llantrisant, South Wales. This facility has been the centre of British coin production since 1968, replacing the historic London Mint at Tower Hill. Billions of one-penny coins have been struck at Llantrisant, ensuring that this smallest denomination remains widely available. The Royal Mint is not only responsible for British coinage, but also produces coins for many other nations, making it one of the most important mints in the world. In circulation terms, the 2005 penny is an extremely common coin. Tens of millions were produced for daily commerce, meaning it is easily found in circulation and holds only face value unless in pristine condition. However, like all coins, its significance goes far beyond its small monetary worth. It is a physical representation of Britain's economy, monarchy, and history, passing through millions of hands in everyday transactions. Collectors, however, distinguish between circulation strikes and proof issues. In 2005, the Royal Mint released proof sets that included one-penny coins struck to a higher standard. Proof coins are produced with specially polished dies and blanks, giving them sharp detail and mirror-like fields. These proof pennies are far scarcer than their circulation counterparts and are valued by numismatists. Uncirculated sets were also produced for collectors who wanted examples of that year's coinage in mint condition. Top 3. The 1996 United Kingdom one-penny coin belongs to the decimal coinage system introduced in 1971, a major reform that simplified the centuries-old British currency. Prior to decimalisation, Britain used pounds, shillings, and pence in a complicated system where 240 old pence made up £1. On February 15, 1971, decimal day, the new system was launched, dividing the pound into 100 new pence. The 1996 one-penny coin represents the continuity of this modern decimal structure, yet also connects deeply to Britain's much older history of pennies, a denomination dating back to Anglo-Saxon England. The obverse of the 1996 coin features a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest reigning monarch until her passing in 2022. At that time, the third definitive portrait of the Queen was in use, designed by Raphael Maklauf, a sculptor and medalist born in Jerusalem in 1937 and later based in London. His portrait of the Queen was first introduced in 1985 and used on UK coins until 1997. This makes the 1996 penny one of the last years to carry Maklauf's design before the switch to Ian Rank Broadley's more mature effigy in 1998. Maklauf's portrait shows the Queen facing right, wearing the George IV state diadem, a regal crown decorated with roses, thistles, and shamrocks, the floral emblems of England, Scotland, and Ireland. This diadem is traditionally worn by queens and queens consort to the state opening of Parliament. Unlike earlier portraits, Maklauf deliberately designed the Queen's image to appear timeless, idealized, and somewhat youthful, with smooth features and a sense of calm dignity. Many commentators describe it as elegant, though some critics found it too flattering for her age of the time. Around the obverse design runs the inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 1996. This is in Latin, and expands to Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, which translates as Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. This legend emphasizes both her secular and religious roles as the political sovereign of the United Kingdom and as Supreme Governor of the Church of England. The inclusion of the date, 1996, clearly identifies the year of issue. On the reverse of the coin we find the crowned portcullis with chains, a heraldic emblem strongly associated with Parliament and government. The design was created by Christopher Ironside, a respected British designer whose work was chosen for the new decimal coinage series in 1971. The portcullis itself is a medieval defensive gate often found on castles, and it became a Tudor badge under Henry VII. In modern times, it is the official emblem of the Palace of Westminster, linking the coin directly to Britain's democratic traditions. Above the portcullis sits a crown symbolizing royal authority and the enduring link between the monarchy and Parliament. Around the edge of the reverse is the clear inscription, 1 penny, identifying the denomination. Unlike higher denominations such as the 50p or £1, which carried more elaborate national symbols, the penny maintained this consistent, simple design for decades, reinforcing stability and tradition. The technical specifications of the 1996 one penny are as follows. It is struck in bronze with a composition of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It weighs 3.56 grams, has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, a thickness of 1.65 millimeters, and a plain edge. Bronze had been the standard alloy for pennies and 2-pence coins since 1860, and it remained so until 1992. However, in 1992, due to rising copper prices, the Royal Mint switched new 1-penny coins to copper-plated steel. Yet in 1996, both steel and bronze pennies were struck depending on the batch, meaning that some 1996 coins are magnetic, steel, while others are not, bronze. This makes the year especially interesting for collectors. The switch to steel was largely an economic decision as bronze became too costly for such low-value coins. The copper-plated steel pennies look almost identical to bronze versions but can be distinguished using a magnet. For this reason, collectors sometimes test 1996 pennies to determine which version they hold. Both types exist in large numbers, but it adds a layer of numismatic detail to what might otherwise seem like a very common coin. The Royal Mint, located in Llantrisant, South Wales, produced the 1996 one-penny coin. Since 1968, this facility has been the primary producer of Britain's circulating coinage, as well as coins for dozens of other nations around the world. In 1996, millions of one-penny coins were minted for circulation, making it one of the most abundant issues. However, the mint also produced proof coins and uncirculated collector's sets containing the penny, which are struck to higher standards of finish and are today more desirable to numismatists. The mintage of 1996 pennies was very high, with hundreds of millions entering circulation. As such, they are not considered rare in everyday usage, and most examples hold only face value. However, like many modern coins, their interest lies in condition, metal variety, and potential minting errors. Collectors prize brilliant uncirculated and proof examples, particularly when kept in original sets, as well as any error strikes such as double strikes, misalignments, or blank planchets. The cultural role of the penny remained significant in 1996, even though inflation had reduced its purchasing power to a fraction of what it once was. A penny could no longer buy much on its own, yet it was still crucial in ensuring exact change, especially with prices ending in 0.99. The phrase, "look after the pennies, and the pounds will look after themselves," still carried moral weight, reflecting the long-standing idea that thrift begins with the smallest coin. In everyday life, pennies were often collected in jars, piggy banks, and charity boxes, reinforcing their role as symbols of small savings and collective effort. Top 4, the 2006 one-penny coin of the United Kingdom, is part of the decimal currency system, which was introduced in 1971 as one of the most significant reforms in British monetary history. The old pre-decimal system with pounds, shillings, and pence had been in place for centuries, but it was deemed too complicated for modern life. From February 15, 1971, decimal day, the pound was redefined into 100 new pence, and the penny was born anew as a tiny but essential unit of the system. The 2006 issue continues this line of coins, showing both the resilience of the penny and its transformation across history. On the obverse of the 2006 penny, we find a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's monarch from 1952 until 2022. By 2006, the Royal Mint was using the fourth definitive portrait created by Ian Rank Broadley, FRBS, a distinguished British sculptor. This portrait had been introduced in 1998, replacing Raphael Maklauf's more youthful effigy. It remained on UK coins until 2015. Thus, the 2006 penny firmly belongs to the Rank Broadley era of British coinage design. Rank Broadley's portrait is particularly notable for its realism and maturity. Unlike Maklauf, who had presented an idealized and smooth-faced queen, Rank Broadley chose to depict her as she truly appeared in her later years, with stronger facial features and visible age. This artistic choice was deliberate, as he famously said, "My portrait is not flattered, it is the queen as she is." The image shows Elizabeth II facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most beloved jewels. The portrait conveys dignity, realism, and continuity, making the 2006 penny one of the many coins to carry this important effigy. The obverse legend encircling the Queen's portrait reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2006. This stands for Elizabeth II Dei Grazia Regina Fidei Defensor, translated as Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. The legend affirms both the Queen's divine right in tradition and her role as Supreme Governor of the Church of England. The date, 2006, is also included, clearly identifying the year of minting. The reverse design of the coin remained the same as it had been since decimalization in 1971, the crowned portcullis with chains designed by Christopher Ironside. The portcullis, a medieval defensive gate, is most famously associated with the Palace of Westminster and is a heraldic symbol of Parliament. Its inclusion on the one-penny coin emphasizes Britain's long parliamentary tradition and its system of constitutional monarchy. The chains around the portcullis add both visual interest and historical depth, recalling the Tudor era when the portcullis was used as a royal badge. Above the portcullis is a royal crown tying the design to the monarchy and showing the unity of Parliament and sovereign under Britain's political system. Around the design is the denomination inscription, 1 penny, in bold modern lettering. This reverse had been in continuous use since 1971, and by 2006 it was already being considered for replacement in a redesign of the nation's coins, which indeed came into effect in 2008 with the shield-based designs. Thus the 2006 penny stands near the end of the long Ironside design series. The technical specifications of the 2006 penny are as follows. Composition: copper-plated steel. After 1992 pennies were no longer made from bronze due to rising copper prices. Weight 3.56 grams. Diameter 20.3 millimeters. Thickness 1.65 millimeters. Edge plane, smooth. The switch to steel with a thin copper plating allowed the coin to remain visually identical to bronze versions but with much lower production cost. One interesting property of post-1992 pennies like the 2006 issue is that they are magnetic, unlike earlier bronze coins. The Royal Mint based in Llantrisant, South Wales was responsible for minting the 2006 penny. By that year, the Royal Mint had become one of the most technologically advanced mints in the world, producing billions of coins annually for both the UK and foreign countries. The 2006 penny was struck in vast quantities for everyday circulation, making it a very common coin. In addition, special brilliant uncirculated sets and proof sets were produced for collectors which featured higher quality strikes and superior finishes. Because of the large mintage circulation, examples of the 2006 penny generally hold only face value. However, as with most modern coins, collectors may be interested in coins that are uncirculated, proof-struck, or showing minting errors. For example, off-center strikes, double strikes, or coins missing part of their copper plating can attract numismatic attention. Proof versions contained in 2006 collector sets are especially valued for their mirror-like fields and crisp detailing. The cultural role of the penny in 2006 was complex. Inflation had reduced its purchasing power to almost negligible levels, yet it remained indispensable for small transactions, exact change, and retail pricing that relied on psychological marketing, such as prices ending in 0.99. The penny was also widely used in charity boxes, school collections, and personal piggy banks, serving as a symbol of small savings and community giving. Though its value was small, its symbolic weight was far greater. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.